Rage room workers. What's the most disturbing thing you've ever seen? I work at Smash Zone on Fridays and weekends. It's this place where people pay to break stuff when they're mad. Most of the time, it's pretty normal. Stressed office workers destroying printers, teenagers smashing old TVs, couples doing it for dates. But 3 weeks ago, something happened that still keeps me up at night. This couple walks in around 8 p.m. The guy looked normal, maybe 30, wearing khakis and a polo shirt. The girl seemed nervous but excited, bouncing on her toes. They said their names were Katie and Josh. They picked our relationship package. It comes with dishes, picture frames, and some bottles. People usually do it when they're breaking up or just want to let off steam together. I suited them up in safety gear and led them to room B. It's got concrete walls covered in plastic sheeting and a bunch of stuff already laid out to destroy. I turned on the music, some heavy rock stuff, and went to the control booth where I watched through the window to make sure nobody gets hurt. For the first 10 minutes, everything seemed fine. They were laughing, taking turns smashing plates against the wall. Josh even took a selfie of them with broken glass in the background. But then Katie found this old wedding photo in the pile of frames. She held it up and said something I couldn't hear over the music. Josh's face went white. He tried to grab the photo from her, but she pulled away. That's when I turned down the volume to listen. Katie was yelling, "You said you threw all her pictures away. You said you were over her." Josh was stammering something about how he forgot about that one, how it didn't mean anything. But Katie wasn't buying it. She threw the wedding photo at his feet and screamed, "What else are you lying about, Josh? What else?" That's when Josh said something that made my blood freeze. He whispered, "Please don't do this here, not in front of the cameras." Katie turned toward the window where I was watching and mouthed, "Call the police." I didn't know what to do. This wasn't covered in our training. Josh was backing toward the door, but Katie blocked his way. She pulled out her phone and started recording him. "Tell them about Amy," she said. "Tell them what you did to Amy." Josh's voice cracked. "That was different. That was an accident." "Accident?" Katie laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. "You pushed her down the stairs, Josh. She's in a wheelchair now because of you." My hands were shaking as I reached for the emergency phone. Josh lunged for Katie's phone, trying to delete whatever she was recording. She dodged and threw a beer bottle at his head. It exploded against the wall behind him, and Josh fell to his knees. "You ruined her life," Katie continued. "And you were going to ruin mine too, weren't you? That's why you wanted to come here. That's why you picked this place with no windows, soundproof walls." I called 911 immediately. Josh was crying now, begging Katie not to turn him in. He kept saying how sorry he was, how he never meant to hurt anyone. But Katie just stood there with her phone pointed at him, recording everything. When the cops arrived 15 minutes later, Katie handed them her phone. Turns out she'd been investigating Josh for weeks after his ex-girlfriend Amy contacted her on Facebook. Amy was too scared to go to the police herself, but she'd given Katie enough evidence to set up this whole thing. Katie had planned the rage room session specifically because she knew there would be cameras and witnesses. She wanted Josh to confess somewhere he couldn't deny it later. The police arrested Josh right there in the room. As they led him away in handcuffs, he looked at me through the window and said, "You should delete those security tapes." I told the detective everything I saw and heard. Turns out Josh had a history of violence that somehow never made it to court. Amy wasn't his first victim. The company had to shut down for 3 days while police reviewed all our security footage. We also had to install panic buttons in every room now.